because they're drug addicts and they bought from them before. So the end result is the ones that are really selling, the ones that are really the worst ones, the ones that have repeat offenders, third, fourth type offender people, they need to go to jail for a long time, and that's our role, is to put them in jail and get them off the streets.
Mr. Campbell?
Thank you. Our role in dealing with drugs. Drugs, as y'all well know, is rampant, whether it's from prescription pills, abuse of prescription pills, to methamphetamines, crack cocaine, marijuana. It is a constant problem in our communities, not only ours, our counties, but across the country. When we look at drug cases, you have to look at what your goal is. You have to look at the person. You have to take into consideration law enforcement, the narcotics officers that are working the streets on a day in, day out basis. You'll see a lot of these drug roundups that are going on. That comes from an extended period of time of doing undercover buys, and then they get arrest warrants and they go lock a lot of people up. There's a couple of different categories when you deal with drugs. One's the addicts, or people who have mental problems. Those are not the people that need to be keep locked up over and over. We have programs. As Mr. Wagner alluded to, we do have a drug court that's using the Anderson and Coney counties. There's these people that we can help them. It's easier to help them on the front end than it is the back end. It's a lot cheaper to help them and get them off the drugs at the beginning than it is to keep putting them in jail. So there are programs that we need to use, first-time offenders, to help them, because most of our crimes are linked back to drugs. People steal to go buy drugs. They steal metal to go buy drugs. So those we need to help. Now the drug dealers, the ones that are actually hurting, they make a living, those people we need to go after. We need to use 2-strike, 3 strikes on them, where their past criminal history, usually if they keep selling drugs, they're going to continue doing it. Those we have to go after, those we have to target, working with law enforcement hand in hand. And they help us pick out which ones we need to go after and remove from our community. That is how we play a role in the drug war on drugs.
Thank you.
Bob, I think she meant about order. It might not be fair with me getting the last shot at the question. But anyway, getting away from that. The one thing that's really bothered me, when people get caught trafficking drugs, the meth, it's 2 days time served. Second time, 2 days time served. Maybe probation. I think if you got a drug dealer, somebody selling meth, if you send them to prison for a short period of time, not long enough to get used to it, but just through R&E, if they were to get a year, they'd probably do a few months. That would scare them enough, we might not have the second and the third. But right now, we used to, a no sentence, and then say, well, you're shot to 25 years. It just makes no sense. Anybody's raised children, no, you don't do that. You have to impose some minor punishment early on to get their attention. I had a Mother's Day luncheon or get together yesterday, and there was a senior narcotics agent from Anderson, and he said something to me that made sense. And he is all against drugs, but he says, I do understand from the prosecutor's point of view, that's, I won't say a victimless crime, but if you've got a murder case and a murder victim over here, and somebody selling marijuana or even meth over here, you're predisposed to get the one where you have a dead body or where you have somebody screaming at you or whatever. But I think the drug situation, we have 2 small counties, and I honestly think we could probably have a good effect, a positive effect, if we did punish people immediately, let them know after it happened a few times, word gets around. And I think it would probably have a positive effect and get rid of them. Another issue that has not been mentioned much recently that I'm looking into, I think some of these drugs are perhaps associated with gang activity. Gang activity is not mentioned a lot, but we do have a gang problem. So I would say let's do something about it today and not wait 10 years and say, oh, we got a gang epidemic like we do with the meth. Let's start early. Let's work hard, be aggressive, and solve these problems.
Okay, then I'm going to let you answer the next question. I think you've all mentioned the issue with the court docket. So what is your philosophy, start with you, Wilson, on managing the court docket?
Just told you a while ago, oldest case first. line them up. There's no good in somebody sitting there for 2 or 3 years, but, you know, and there'll be some exceptions. You may have a problem with evidence, you may have DNA. That is not what we have all the time. You should go ahead and do the oldest case first, get it out of the way, go to the next one. If, you know, quite often these people, once they're brought into court, it's bizarre how frequently they'll plead guilty and go on. They were going to turn down a deal. They shouldn't get 3. If you go to the jail, if an attorney, a defense attorney goes up and talks to them, they'll tell you, I haven't had my 3rd offer yet. And I was like, what do you mean your 3rd offer? They should get 1 written offer, they take it, or you bring them in the courtroom. They either take the plea, or you take them to trial. Get that one out of the way, go to the next one, go to the next one. And as long as the judge is willing to sit there, I'd have somebody in their courtroom trying a case. Thank you.
Brent?
On managing the court dockets, oldest to newest, like Mr. Burr said, I mean, that is the name of the game. We still have to move cases. There's always been an issue about backlog. Columbia's always worried about, hey, you got people in jail, keep moving them, we want these cases moved. Their idea is to have everything disposed of in 180 days in a perfect world. However, that doesn't always happen. Things get in the way. When you have to send off cases, evidence to Columbia, to SLED, where everybody else in this entire state is sending their evidence to, you basically get on a waiting list. And they get to it when they can. So that kind of backlogs your ability to do some of the major cases fast. But on a lot of the other cases, the smaller cases, the property crimes, the ones that did not take as much evidence in order to prove, when I say evidence, I'm talking about forensic evidence, those you can move. Those you can put on a docket and move fast. And it does come, they do think in jail that if they keep waiting long enough, they'll get the best deal. And the way you get around that is simple. You give them an offer, they don't take it, you try. And eventually, you take 1 or 2 like that, word spreads. They get better communication in jail than we do outside. They'll know, they know, hey, he was given an offer, he refused it, now he's got popped hard. He's gone down the road for a long time, a lot longer than he did. I've tried cases in which we offered guys, 5 to 7 years. They wind up rolling the dice, they take their chance. They wind up getting 25 years on a drug case. That spreads like wildfire through a jail. So next time an offer comes, those other people in the jail pay attention, they learn. The horns will hook. And that's what you have to do. You have to send a message to them. It's a game to them, so we got to quit. I mean, that's plain and simple.
There's a lot that goes into managing a docket and running the term of court. Having done it for 25 years, I can tell you, there's no simple answer to it. You just can't go necessarily oldest to newest. We try to get to the oldest cases first, but inevitably, a lot of times that's not the best way to do it. You can't stand up here and say, I want to go after career criminals, which I have said, and it's going to fast track people. And then you can't fast track people when you're trying the oldest cases first. You got to take your best shots at the people that really need to go. And sometimes that may be a little bit newer case. Sometimes another case may have to sit there and idle a little bit. Me personally, I don't care if they're sitting down there in jail for another 6 months. If I could take another burglar that's breaking in houses in this community off the streets by fast tracking him. So I think you got to look at each case different. I think you have fallback plans. I've heard up here that we don't run court till Friday. Well, most judges, to be honest with you, lots of times they've got conferences to go to on Friday. There's other things going on Friday, usually probation, maybe doing some things on Friday. But we're trying cases almost every single term of court. It's rare that we have a judge, a visiting judge, come up here to Oconee and say, and not say, thanks for a good week of court, y'all were well prepared. Our fallback plans are usually in managing the docket. If the trials do plead out or something happens to them, we've got pleas on backup. We do pleas out of the jail, we do pleas from things, we've got people carded in. There's lots of ways to manage your docket. And going oldest to newest, I'm not buying that. I'd rather take the shots at the people that need to be taken out and go after those people. And then we can work the oldest cases in, which we do try to prioritize. We can try to get those too. But SLED does take a long time. They're backed up. We do the best we can. You got working around people's schedules, witnesses that are available or not available. Everything is an extremely complex problem in every single case, and you've got to keep up with that on almost every single case.
I've got,
My shot now.
oh,
Yeah, what is your first order?
okay.
All right.
Should go to the minutes.
Yeah, we started in the middle, so now I get to respond. Okay, yeah, I think oldest first does, am I going over a second time? Yeah. I apologize. I'm excited about this stuff, I want to get it out.
But you should stand up though, because the next question is yours. This question is specifically for you. Okay? Have you ever prosecuted a case in 10th Circuit Court? And when is the last time you prosecuted a case in South Carolina?
Loaded question. The first job I ever had out of law school was as a prosecutor, and that's what I did. Since I moved up here as a defense attorney. And I've been the chief public defender, a job that I really enjoyed. But I've become so discouraged with what I've seen in the prosecution that I talked to a lot of people last year, and finally in September, I submitted a resignation, giving up my livelihood, and saying, I think I can make a big improvement. I don't know who asked the question, but obviously they know I don't prosecute up here. But I've prosecuted all over the world. I prosecuted federal court. I prosecuted as a JAG officer for 15 years. I've done a lot of prosecution. All I've done since I got out of school primarily has been trial work, trial related, whether it was in federal court, state court, military court martial. But don't like the question because everybody knows that answer. If you read the paper, you know who I am. Thank you.
Okay, but I just felt someone had asked me, so I want to make sure we did address it. I have one last question. It's been mentioned, as most of you know, this position covers both Oconee and Anderson County. And let's see. I guess I'll start with